Hello and welcome to this December 10th, 2010 video version of Invested Central's Chart of the Day. I'm Tom Boley, Invested Central's Chief Market Strategist, and it's my pleasure to provide you today's Chart of the Day. This Chart of the Day is brought to you by StockCharts.com, simply the web's best financial charts. Today we're taking a look at American International Group, ticker symbol AIG. This is about a $32 billion financial company. Taking a look at the chart here, you can see that the stock technically has run into some resistance as it's approached about the 45.75 area. Notice the last time that we got up there in early November, as we hit this resistance area right here, notice we had a higher high in place, but we had a lower MACD reading. So that was an indication that momentum was slowing as we were approaching a key resistance area. AIG backed down off of that. Failed to hold the 20-day, which had been holding a support earlier back at the end of October. We failed to hold the 20-day. We went all the way down, put in a slight tail below the 50-day moving average, but then we came back up and closed above it, and that marked the low for AIG, and we have since been trending higher. Now notice on Thursday, this was a huge candlestick. We had moved from $42 on the low, reaching a high of $48.60. Closing at $47.78. This is a very powerful candlestick that took out key price resistance and did so on very heavy volume. Now after we had this negative divergence, you can see the MACD came back, tested the center line, and then started moving back up again. So now we have a MACD that's turning up off the center line, which I find to be very bullish. We've got a price breakout. We've got heavy volume confirming that breakout, and I think AIG is going to head higher. Now in the very near term, we do have price support where we broke out from. That prior resistance becomes price support at $45.75. So I like entry at the current level, and again a second entry down at $45.75. If you're conservative and you want to wait and see if you can get your entire position at $45.75, that's fine. That definitely would be the more conservative approach to playing AIG here. But normally when you do get big volume like this, you can get a lot of follow through in the near term. So I think AIG, in my opinion, is more likely to head higher in the near term. But if the overall market struggles, and it might, 6 of the last 7 days we've seen equity only put call ratios at 0.50 and below. That indicates that there have been at least double the number of equity calls being traded than equity puts on 6 of the last 7 days, suggesting that traders are getting very, very optimistic on their option trades, and that many times is a signal of a potential near-term top. So you want to be careful there, and I only mention that because if we do pull back, obviously it doesn't really matter how bullish a chart is. If you've got a market that's pulling back, the chances of continued push to the upside become slimmer. So I would just take a look at the chart and say the current price down to $45.75 looks very interesting. Financials have performed extremely well this week, even though some of the other sectors have been selling off. We talked last weekend about energy and consumer discretionary and how the momentum was slowing in those groups, as evidenced by the MACDs, negative divergences on the MACDs. We talked about how some of the other aggressive groups could pick up the slack because they had already pulled back to key moving averages. So financials kind of fit that category, and as a result of the financials moving higher, we've seen a number of banks and insurance companies breaking out to new highs, and AIG is among those. So watch for $45.75 to the downside to hold as support. That's where you could keep a stop a little bit below that area, maybe $45.50 to $45.75 if you want a tight stop. If you want to give it a little bit more room, watch for the rising 20-day exponential moving average, which currently rests at 42.98. I hope you've enjoyed our presentation today. Be sure to check out our chart of the day every day at investedcentral.com. While you're there, sign up for our free weekly Market Pulse newsletter and have the chart of the day emailed directly to you. Happy trading.